Hello, Virgos, and welcome to this, your February 1st through February 15th reading and predictions. For those of you who are new here, thank you so much for trusting and clicking on this video. And for those of you who are returning, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. For those of you who are new here, I do not edit my videos. What you see is what you get. If I consult with a psychic or a tarot reader or a counselor, I want authenticity from them, so that's what I put out to you guys. Please stick around all the way until the end of the video. A lot of people say, hey, I have this question. Could you just answer it for me? Yes or no? It's, you know. So at the very end of this video, I will be giving you an opportunity to pose your question, and I will be pulling cards for you to answer your question. Now, Virgo, the last reading that I did for you guys was really quite interesting. It kind of turned into a relationship type reading. You had a couple of nights that were presented. You had the romantic night and you had the intellectual night who were presented. And it was a question of, who are you going to decide? Which route are you going to take? You going to go with your heart, or are you going to go with your mind, your intellect, to make your decisions? And the final overall outcome of your reading was, you know what? When you do your shadow work, when you do the hard work of doing shadow work, you find the answers. So let's get started. The first cards we're going to pull are going to be cards of where you are at now as I do this reading for you at the end of January for Virgo. Virgo, Nine of Swords. And look, I've got two cards here. Not sure if they're going to come out or not. Yeah, they're both going to fall out before I get to the end here. And there we go. All right. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. The first card that jumped out is the Sorrow card. It corresponds to the Nine of Swords. And this is the card that I like to call the catastrophism card. This is the card of lying awake in bed at night worrying, oh my God, worst case scenario. Oh, this is so horrible. Anyone who's watching tarot readers, psychics, and so on understands the basic concept. Even if they have not fully internalized it yet, they understand the concept that our thoughts create our reality. Our thoughts are energy. Everything is energy. Everything that we have, see, hear, feel starts with a thought, which is energy, which then moves into this. Which means that if we are spending enough time lying awake in bed at night, thinking about our sorrows, thinking about our regrets, thinking about worst case scenario, what will we ultimately manifest? This card is a card of, if you stay in this, you will create a self-fulfilling prophecy, Virgo. What is this card creating in you right now? This card. This is the fighting card. And it's not necessarily about you wanting to go out and start a fight with someone. This is a card about you having an internal conflict. What's that internal conflict? I'm not quite sure what it is, but there's something that's keeping you awake at night. I'm going to guess that what's keeping you awake at night is something that's likely out of your control. You see, the vast majority of things that keep us awake at night and cause us to have internal conflicts are things that we can't control anyway. So it's about a release of control, which brings me to your next card. Go with the flow. There is an awful lot in our lives that we have control over. We can control whether we stay in a crappy job or whether we move on. We can control whether we stay in a crappy relationship or move on. We can control whether we stay in a really terrible living condition or move on. Can we control the weather? Not so much. Okay. There's perhaps some equipment that's being built on the planet that might be able to control the weather. There might be some airplanes flying in the sky that might be able to influence certain things. But can we do it as individuals? No, we can't. So worrying about the weather, we can prepare ourselves as best we can. That's all we can do. We do have control over some things, and that which we do have control over, we control. That which we don't have control over, we have to go with the flow, Virgo, because the internal fighting and the sorrow and the worry, it's really not serving your highest good right now. Go with the flow. I want to point out as well that this card corresponds to the Ace of Cups, which indicates a new beginning. And new beginnings come from what? New belief systems, which come from what? New thoughts. Excuse me. When we release this Nine of Swords energy, it opens the door for us to move into creating something new. Let's move into what you are focusing on and where you are putting your energies for February. Excuse me, those first cards that I read, this is an indication that my grandmother is coming in to help guide the rest of your reading. My grandmother was a very heavy smoker and had a very profound cough and stuff in her throat. And so I always know when she's coming in. As soon as I start talking about it, she eases that back because I've acknowledged her. So lucky you, Virgo. You get to be guided by my grandma today. All right. Let's take a look at what you're focusing on, where you're putting your energies. Let's hope we can get you out of the fighting and the Nine of Swords energy and into some flow here. Okay. First card that came out for you is the Six of Pentacles. And the next card that came out for you is the Chariot. Six of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles is the card that I like to call the Karma card and the Philanthropy card. This is the card of if you can afford to give, then give. And that's not just about giving money and financial abundance. This is also about giving time, energy, help, assistance, aid, whatever that looks like for you. If you have that ability and that capacity, then give. And if you are in a place of need, Virgo, then don't be afraid to ask. Like I said, this is the Karma card. What goes around comes around. When you are in times of abundance, whether that be an abundance of time on your hands that you can give to go volunteer, then go do that. And if you are in a time where you have the financial abundance to be able to go and give, then go do that. And if you are in a time of need, then ask and allow yourself to be supported. That's what this card is about. This is what you are focusing on, is finding that balance, finding and really living in the energy of what goes around comes around. And the second card that you have in your focus is the Chariot. Now, the Chariot is almost always presented with two characters, and it depends on the suit as to what the characters are that are pulling the chariot. In this case, it's horses. In traditional tarot, it's horses. In my everyday witch, it's cats that are pulling it. So it really just depends. And in the fairy tarot, of course, it's fairies that are pulling it. But either way, it's always represented by two creatures of different colors pulling the chariot. The two creatures of different colors on the chariot, Virgo, are indicating that you have a decision to make. And once you make the decision, the results of that decision are going to come barreling toward you the same way that a chariot would. Is the decision easy to make? No. Probably not. Why? Because chariots are historically extremely difficult vehicles to maneuver and to drive. So, this is indicating that there is a decision on the horizon for you, Virgo. You may struggle a little bit with the decision. It may be a moral decision because oftentimes with the chariot, it's depicted as black and white. And so it may be a moral decision that you need to make. Once you make the decision, however, the universe is prepared to line up and barrel the results towards you. Like it's just kind of come. You're going to look at it and go, whoa, I did not see those results of my desired manifestation coming that fast. But that's what this card is indicating. Now, I'm going to just tap into your energies for just a moment. hmm What I'm picking up, Virgo, is that for some of you, the decision that's coming in is about your current living conditions, your current living situation. I had an image of somebody carrying boxes across a street and down a couple of houses. And that to me is indicating that there may be a move coming in the future for you. It may be a move across country, it may be moved to a different country altogether, or it may be a move just across the street and down a couple of doors. But either way, just psychically, what I'm picking up for you, Virgo, is that in 2024, you may be making some decisions that may be leading you down the road to a move, to a new living circumstance, living situation. Let's move into your difficult influences and challenges. Yeah, the more I'm coming into this. One of the months that starts with A, either April or August, watch for that, Virgo. Watch for the possibility of a move in either April or August and a change to your living circumstances. Oh, and that one's on the floor. I hate it when that happens. Like I said, I don't hit in my videos, so it's always fun to watch me try and pick cards up from the floor. Okay, Virgo, this is fascinating to me. Because before I pulled this card and before it jumped out, I had just finished saying that psychically what I was picking up for you is that there was a possibility that this decision that you needed to make and what was going to come barreling towards you was going to be about your living situation. And I had seen in my mind's eye a possible move, potentially to somewhere else in the world, different city, whatever. And the card that we got in your difficult influences is the world. Now, in this particular deck, it's coming up as completion. But this card corresponds to the world. It corresponds to us finishing a soul lesson, finishing a life lesson, and then getting ready to move forward. And I can tell you from experience in my own life and from doing this type of work for an extremely long time, when the world card comes up, when we're closing out a cycle in our life, when we've learned a life lesson, I would say 8 out of 10 people, 80% of people move. It's just a fact. We finish something off and we pack our bags. We're like, I'm out of here. I'm going to go and do something new. And you've got the chariot here. Yeah. So this came up in your difficult influences. Does this mean that you're moving right away? Nope. It means that you're bumping up against it. You're not quite ready to close out that aspect of your life. You're bumping into it. You're not ready for this completion. You're not ready to put the last piece of the puzzle in. When it happens, there's likely to be a physical move, potentially across the country. Don't know why I'm picking that up for you, Virgo. Take this as it resonates. This is a general reading for all of the Virgos. There are a lot of Virgos out there, but this is what's coming in for me. If you do want to dive a little deeper, I am available for private consultations, but this is what's coming up for the general reading for Virgos. Let's take a look at messages from the universe, messages the universe wants you to hear at this time. Okay, so we have 3 cards that have come out for you in messages from the universe. Let's pick up the first one over here. Feel joy in all that you do. Yeah, I'm going to go back over here to these 2 cards, the first couple of cards I read for you, the fighting card and the sorrow card. Yeah, you really need to get out of this, because when you do and you go with the flow, you have the opportunity to feel joy in all that you do. The other 2 messages from the universe for you: death is an illusion. Mediumship is coming up. I've never had mediumship come up when I've had this card come out for anyone else right now, Virgo. And interestingly, my grandmother came in at the beginning when I had that frog in my throat. Yeah, death is an illusion. So for some of you, pay attention to mediumship. First half of February, the time frame for this reading. And finally, be of service. What card did you have in your focus? The 6 of Pentacles, the philanthropy card. Give when you can, take when you need, be of service. Messages from the universe right now. Let's move into your unexpected. What is unexpected for Virgo for the first half of February? What is unexpected? Ooh, life experiences. And another major arcana, the Emperor. Okay. There is something that you don't want to face, something that you don't want to end, something that you don't want to put the last piece of the puzzle into. There is something you don't want to complete. Why don't you want to complete? Well, there's a decision that you need to make, and it's probably a moral decision. It is a decision that I believe is likely to affect your living situation. You're not quite ready to put the last piece of the puzzle in. If you don't do it on your own terms, the universe is likely to step in and create a situation where you're forced to make that decision, and you're forced to learn some lessons, and you're forced to move ahead. The life experience card corresponds to the Tower in the traditional tarot. And this is about an ending, whether you like it or not. Why? When one door closes, another one opens, and the other one always has better things behind it. But sometimes we're not willing to close a door. Sometimes we don't close the door. So the universe does it for us. That's what this card is about. It's about letting go of a belief system or letting go of an attachment to the past that's no longer serving you. There's nothing left to learn. This is the completion card. This is the card saying you've learned everything that you needed to learn about this situation or this circumstance. It's time to move on. This is a card saying you've learned everything you needed to learn. Either you close the door or we will. And then you have the Emperor coming in. The Emperor is probably one of the most organized characters in the deck. He is also the logical one. He comes from a place of intellect and not emotion. That said, these cards, this being in your difficult influences, the Chariot coming up for what you're focusing on, and then having the Tower and then the Emperor. What's coming in for me, Virgo, is that there's something in your life that needs to end. Whatever that is. Job, relationship, housing situation. Maybe you're living in a crappy apartment and it's time for you to move on. Whatever the situation is in your personal circumstances, and again, I reiterate, this is a general reading, but whatever the situation is, your living circumstances need to change. So this Emperor is saying, get organized and don't let your emotions overwhelm you when the change and the shift happens. Come from a place of intellect, come from a place of mind, come from that logical place. Okay, this happened. Am I upset? Yes. Am I emotional about it? Yes. But is getting overly emotional and frantic, or is getting overly emotional going to help me resolve the situation and get back into where I need to be? No. So come from that logical place. Okay, first I need to do this, then I need to do this, then I need to do this, and get really, really clear on what it is you need to do and get very linear and logical in it. Where are we going for your final general overall outcome? Final general overall outcome, and then we're going to move to your yes, no. Final general overall outcome. The first card that's popped out is the Two of Swords. Two of Swords ruled by mind and intellect. It is about needing to make a decision from the mind, not from emotion. And that is what I had already picked up and intuited with you with the with these cards in your unexpected, Virgo. You'll notice that this character is blindfolded. On all of the Two of Swords, the character is blindfolded. Why is the character blindfolded? Because the decision needs to be made on blind faith. Basically, you have a decision that needs to be made with this Chariot in your focus. You are focusing on making the decision, but you have not made the decision yet. At this point, you can still see both sides of it. By the middle of February, if you have not made the decision, you're going to have to make that decision. It's going to have to be made on blind faith. And if you don't make it, the universe will make it for you. And the universe will put things in your path. Now, some of you might be going, oh, wait a minute, Marnie, what about free will? My free will is that I want to stay in this place. Okay. Then what the Tower represents is going to be uncomfortable. If it's already uncomfortable, it's going to be made more uncomfortable. The life experience card or the Tower card represents a pretty radical change or shift in your life. The Two of Swords is about needing to make a decision based on blind faith, based on intellect. You have the Emperor. This is also a card of intellect. The emotions don't factor into some of the decisions that you need to make right now. All right. I'm going to leave off your reading here. I think we've gone deep enough. Either way, this reading is indicating that you do have some decisions to make. And the outcome is not all bad. I can tell you that right now, because having the completion card or the world card, the world is going to open up once the choice is made. And good opportunities come from the world card. But a lot of us are hesitant for change. We resist change. But when change is forced upon us, 99% of the time, good things come out of it. But it's human nature to resist change. Virgo, bring to mind your question, your yes/no question. You may wish to close your eyes and just concentrate on your question while I shuffle the cards here, and let's see what comes out. Okay, Virgo, in response to your question, here is your answer. That is a resounding yes. Okay. Thank you so much for being here, Virgos. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. If this video resonated for you, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It really does help me build and get this message and these messages out to more people. I would appreciate it if you would allow me the honor of doing your next reading for you in the middle of February. And with that, thank you so much.